Check it out, it's your boy Bush back again with another live. BullRad gonna tap in. We gonna get to it. Chop up some game. Do some conspiracy stuff. But nowadays that word conspiracy, I believe all them old conspiracies now. Back in the day, I was real skeptical. But man, things done changed. Oh, how the tide changed, boy, I swear. Shout out and salute. You feel me? Now, first of all, we going to get into this video that Bush got to react to, man. This shit is too much. Too much to handle. Man, why my intro never come on? Anyway, Crime Central. Let's start there. This stuff gets wicked, wicked, wicked. Let's start there. Is he still alive? What y'all think, man? Y'all think he alive? Let's get into it, man. Crime Central. We're going to set it off right here.
Here's digging into cases like this one, piecing together timelines from court records, inspector general reports, and witness statements. The death of Jeffrey Epstein on August 10, 2019, inside the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City, stands out because of how many small failures lined up. One of the most talked about details is that final phone call he made from inside the jail. Here's what I found when I went through the official documents myself. Epstein was in the Special Housing Unit, the SHU, at MCC. It was the evening of August 9, 2019, the night before he was discovered unresponsive. Around 7 p.m., staff allowed him to make a call. This wasn't a routine monitored call from the regular inmate phones. Prison rules usually require oversight for social calls, especially for someone like Epstein facing serious federal charges. But that night he was escorted to a shower area in the G tier. A correctional officer set up access to a landline normally reserved for attorney communications, unmonitored.
We all know anything could happen with that money. Anything could happen with money, and he had a lot of it.
Unrecorded. Epstein told the staff he wanted to call his mother. His mother had died years earlier, in 2003. The officer dialed a New York City 646 number anyway. A man answered on the other end, then handed the phone to Epstein. The call lasted about 15 minutes. He spoke to a woman who was reportedly in Belarus at the time, described in later reports as his girlfriend. They talked about everyday things, the press going crazy, books, music, hygiene, and jail. Nothing dramatic surfaced from what's known.
Belarus, is that Israel?
The call ended. Epstein was escorted back to his cell in the L tier around 7:49 p.m. Video from the common area shows him walking down a stairwell with an officer. After that, he was locked in for the night. No one entered his tier again until the next morning. That's the confirmed sequence. The Department of Justice Inspector General report from 2023 lays it out clearly after interviewing dozens of staff and reviewing logs. The call happened. It was unmonitored. It wasn't recorded. No public transcript exists because the line wasn't set up to capture audio. Now, the gray areas start to creep in. Why was he given special access to an unmonitored line?
Come on now.
Policy violations were obvious here. Staff later admitted it broke protocol. Epstein claimed it was
Money make things happen, man. Come on, y'all know that. Money. Them guards make what, 25? Come on, man, 25,000 a year, that ain't shit. Money make things happen. Everybody know that, though.
to his mother, which should have raised a red flag immediately. The officer who dialed didn't question it enough. The woman he actually spoke to declined to be interviewed by investigators, though her lawyer passed on the basics of the conversation. No content beyond that summary ever became public. No audio exists to verify tone, exact words, or if something coded was said. That absence fuels questions. Was it truly just casual talk, or did it tie into last-minute arrangements, finances, messages to associates, something else? Conspiracy circles took that gap.
He said he on the island. I think he in Israel. He got mad connects in Israel, and you know he Jewish. I think he over there, I ain't gonna lie.
And ran hard. They framed the call as the final preparation step, a signal to pull strings for a staged exit. a way to coordinate asset moves or alert someone to activate an escape plan. The timing fits neatly into the narrative. Hours later, guards fail checks, cameras don't capture everything needed. Epstein is gone. The unrecorded call becomes proof of orchestration. Why no recording if everything was above board, people ask. Why lie about calling his dead mother? I get why it sticks. When you stack it with the other breakdowns, guards not doing rounds for hours, falsified logs, most cameras in the unit malfunctioning or not recording properly, the picture looks sloppy at best, deliberate at worst. The Inspector General called it significant misconduct and poor performance across the board.
You think the Epstein files is everything? He gave them, he made a deal with the right people and gave them what they needed to get his ass up out of here. He like, all right, but I got some shit. I ain't gonna release it. But if y'all let me move over here, you know, it sounds simple when I say it, because I break stuff down to complicate it, make it simple. But as simple as that, you know, humans are humans. He said, wait a minute, let me get up out of here. I won't release this other stuff as long as I'm the only one that know where this stuff is, because that's what extortionists do. They keep it to themselves. They don't let nobody else know the info. And then, you know, and I'm out. Shit.
Staffing shortages, ignored suicide watch protocols from weeks earlier, a cellmate removed the day before.
I heard about that. The son, I seen the pictures. That's some next level stuff. Me and my boy, we was setting up some content on that. Man, imagine he was in the picture. He was with him since a baby to the, like, I seen pictures up to probably the age 10 years old. It's a lot that's about to be uncovered, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's crazy as hell. The mayor of New York.
Peace alone is explainable as incompetence in a troubled facility. Together they erode trust. But here's where I draw the line. No hard evidence turns that phone call into anything beyond a policy violation. No witness describes suspicious content. No financial trail or communication log points to a coordinated fake-out. The call was allowed through negligence or poor judgment, not as part of a grand scheme. Epstein had already tried to take his own life in July, found with a sheet around his neck. He knew the pressure was mounting. Despair, fear, or calculation could explain why he'd push for one last private conversation. The absence of a recording is maddening. It leaves space. In true crime, space breeds death.
Said he don't have no kids. He's gay. Well, he liked them. He liked them little girls. His how old was our mayor's mom when she was pregnant with him? That's the question right there.
Doubt. When systems fail this badly, people fill the voids with their own explanations. Some see murder to silence him. Others see a fake death so he could vanish. The phone call becomes the hinge point in those stories. Yet the facts stay stubborn. The medical examiner ruled hanging, suicide. The Inspector General found no criminality contradicting that. No outside entry. No foul play evidence. The call was one more symptom of a broken jail, not a smoking gun. What bothers me most is how preventable it feels. If someone had monitored that line, logged the real recipient, questioned the mother story, maybe the night plays out differently. Maybe Epstein gets checked on time. Maybe we don't have...
Yeah, you're right. That was the setup. Because when he did the interview, if you watch that interview, he ain't speak on nothing. Like when the dude asked him, how were you in there? Did you have any regrets? Were you think about your life, reflecting? And he's like, no, that was cool. He's basically like acting like it was all cool. He didn't seem like he was distressed and suicidal or none of that. He's talking about his Almond Joy candy bars and shit like that. That's all he said. The shit don't add up. You feel me? He did some time during the financial crisis. He was on the phone talking to the people, handling business. Now all of a sudden he's suicidal. Nah, he been behind the wall. That definitely was a setup. He ain't really try to commit suicide. They just wanted that on record to make it look easier, make it look good.
Have this endless loop of speculation. Instead, we're left with questions that won't close. Who exactly answered first on that 646 number? What else was said in those 15 minutes? Why did no one catch the lie about his mother right then? Those unknowns keep the theory alive. Not because there's proof he's out there somewhere.
Yo, what up, Berad?
Yo, what's good, kid?
Man. They saying he might be still alive, man, and a lot of things ain't adding up.
Yeah, I seen something this morning talking about him possibly in Israel.
I'm just saying, like, the dude, man, when we heard the last interview, he didn't seem suicidal. He did like some months in jail or whatever else. He was like, yeah, it was, it was just talking about it. He wasn't saying like, oh, I was gonna kill myself. I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand it. He was just like, whatever. So now they saying later he tried to commit suicide and then failed with a sheet. They found him with a sheet around his neck. Please, that was a setup. You feel me? I think they snuck his ass out. Yeah, he right. He said he made himself untouchable. Like they once it got to the public, they had to do something. So they're like, all right, let's just take you out of here.
Because he probably told and got word to people like, yo, if I'm going down, you're going down. And some of those people are really, really big people in the government, so they couldn't have that.
He said everything on this island was recorded. So imagine the dirt he got. You feel me? I don't think we're gonna get it all with the Epstein file. We just getting what he gave to cut that deal to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, this guy's an evil one, and I was thinking it's possible he might have gotten away, and now it's people are really talking about it like it's possible. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah. Well, this guy seems legit. His channel, he got a big channel. Shout out to Crime Central, like I said, and he did some real research. So let's keep it going though. When BullRad step in the building, here they come the Hawks.
But because the official story has too many cracks. When trust in the system collapses, people reach for alternatives, even ones that stretch logic. I've read the reports cover to cover, talked to sources who followed it close. The call was real. It was sloppy. It wasn't recorded. That's all we have. The rest is shadow. And shadows are where doubt lives. I've pored over the official reports myself. The 2023 Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General Investigation stands out as the most thorough. It pulls no punches on the breakdowns at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. One of the elements that keeps coming up in discussions about Jeffrey Epstein's death is the state of the security cameras in the special housing unit where he was held. Here's what the record shows. On the night of August 9 into the morning of August 10, 2019, recorded video from the SHU area came from only one prison security camera. This wasn't a sudden overnight glitch. The malfunction traced back to July 29, 2019, when disk failures hit DVR2 and MCC New York's digital video recorder system. That failure knocked out recording capability for roughly half the institution's cameras, even though the cameras themselves kept transmitting live feeds to monitoring stations. Staff discovered the issue on August 8, just 2 days before Epstein was found unresponsive. They got replacement hard drives, but no one completed the repairs before his death. The system stayed broken. The OIG report lays this out plainly after forensic analysis by the FBI's Digital Forensics Unit in Quantico. Catastrophic disk failures in the DVR2 array meant no recordings from that system after July 29. The single working record...
That's crazy. All
That is
kind
crazy.
of things was working in his favor, bro. It was all set up. He was untouchable. This motherfucker, that Illuminati connects. Not only that shit, I know he's extortionist. He's a guy from Brooklyn who made it to where he made it, and nobody knows why. I guarantee you, he has some shit that is like, only I know where this is, and get me the fuck out of this, or else it's going down. Period. Type shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would have to be able to get himself out of this position.
camera in the SHU captured a large chunk of the common area and portions of the stairways to the different tiers, including the one with Epstein's cell on L tier. But Epstein's actual cell door? It fell outside the camera's field of view. No lens pointed directly at his door or inside his cell. Prison cells aren't typically fitted with interior cameras for privacy and operational reasons, but the hallway approach should have been covered. The OIG reviewed what little footage existed. From around 10:40 p.m. on August 9 until about 6:30 a.m. on August 10th, no one appeared entering Epstein's cell tier from the SHU common area. Movements earlier and later aligned with staff accounts and logs. No unauthorized entries showed up. Early reports right after the death mentioned 2 cameras malfunctioning outside his cell. Those came from unnamed sources in 2019. The Inspector General's deeper dive clarified the bigger picture. Systemic failure across the DVR setup, not just isolated cameras. 11 cameras served the SHU overall. 10 didn't record due to the hard drive issues. The one that did provided partial coverage at best. Live feeds were still going to stations, but the report notes no one was actively watching them during the critical overnight hours. Staffing was stretched thin. Guards were overworked. Focus shifted elsewhere. This gap in visual evidence hits hard. Without direct footage of the tier entrance during the window when Epstein was alone and unchecked, there's no continuous record proving every moment.
Yeah, Berad, remember you brought up his son too. Well, his alleged son. I ain't gonna say that, but it seems my homie right here, he believed that shit too. He said that's his son, and it's some juice behind that on the net. Pause. It's some people are really believing that, and it's crazy. All those pictures ain't no what we say is where there's smoke, there's fire. How was he in all those pictures, like from the baby to what age was he? Look like appeared to be.
Yo, and his father's name is Mitch Epstein. So like yeah, his father's name and her husband at the time when he was born is Mitch Epstein. So like it could be like Epstein's cousin or uncle married her, and then Epstein smashed and had the kid.
Yeah, but why are y'all saying it's Epstein's kid though?
Yo, it's funny. Look at the face progression. They put their faces together. They look very similar.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
I don't think it's real, but like I said before, there's a more than 0% chance that it's real. So I'm cool with talking about it.
Because somebody said he don't like ladies like that. So I want to know how old was his mom when he was born. That's what I need to find out.
She looked pretty young, maybe like 23, 24, but she's a filmmaker.
You already know he was out of there. They had cameras malfunctioning. Come on now, that's a federal prison. All the money the feds got, cameras malfunctioning. Fuck out of here. We ain't doing that. Like, nah.
And then
No frame by frame of who approached.
What'd you say?
And then they blame it on the dirty Yonkers cop that's in there for murder and all that shit.
Of course. Throw it on him.
If anyone did, no time-stamped proof ruling out every possibility. Conspiracy narratives latch onto that absence. They argue the malfunction was deliberate, cameras conveniently disabled to allow foul play or a staged scene. No video means no proof of suicide, the reasoning goes. Or worse, the lack of footage proves intervention by powerful interests to silence him. The timing feels too perfect. A high-profile inmate with connections to influential people dies, and the recording system fails right when it matters most. I understand the pull. When official systems break down so spectacularly, trust erodes fast. The OIG itself called out long-standing deficiencies with MCC's camera setup. The facility had a history of these problems: outdated equipment, infrequent checks, repeated hard drive failures. It wasn't unique to Epstein's case. It was chronic neglect in a crumbling institution. But the facts resist jumping to orchestration. The disk failure started weeks earlier, discovered days before, and left unrepaired through routine incompetence, not targeted sabotage. No evidence surfaced of tampering with the DVR. The FBI's forensic review found catastrophic failure, not human interference. Witnesses, logs, and the partial footage all pointed to no entry on the tier after lockdown. The medical examiner's autopsy ruled hanging suicide. The Inspector General found no criminality contradicting that. No outside actor in the SHU, no signs of struggle beyond what fits self-inflicted injury. Still, the unknowns linger. Why wasn't the system fixed promptly after discovery? Who exactly was supposed to monitor the live feeds overnight? Could a secondary camera, mentioned in some accounts covering an alternate entrance, have captured anything missed?
Wow, that's a lot. He said, hold up. Can you explain the conversation that Trump had with him before he became mayor of New York? It was mandatory. Yes. He had to come to Washington and sit down with him.
Yes, I can absolutely explain that. So it is customary. It's been a thing for as long as I know that the mayor of New York City, the new mayor of New York City, before being inaugurated or brought in, who are sworn in, goes down to Washington, D.C., and sits down with the president and has a discussion with him, because they need the mayor that's going to be running the financial capital of the world in our country. Uh, they need to be on the same page with what's going on. So they got to meet each other, know each other that way. If anything big goes on, when they pick up that phone, they already know who they're speaking with. They've already met the man, that type of thing. So it's customary. Every New York City mayor has gone and met the new president, or I mean, every new mayor has gone and met the president, sitting president at the time, since forever.
Oh, okay.
That's just how that goes. But yeah, no, I'm sure there was a little bit of, him telling you what's going to happen in there. And if there is anything with the two of them involved in that shit, then I'm sure that might have been a topic of discussion. But I don't believe Trump really has anything to do with that, besides pictures that everybody has with Epstein.
As of today, we cannot get no footage close to his island, around his island, or over. That's the crazy part too, though.
It releases a video
The
Thank you.
feds,
Thank you.
yeah, for sure.
clips raised questions about editing or gaps in what was presented as raw footage, though those analyses focused on post-death handling, not the night itself. It's maddening. It really is. A properly functioning, fully recorded system would have shut down so much speculation. One clear, continuous feed of the tear door could have ended the debate. Instead, we get fragments from one angle, blind spots at the critical point, and a trail of negligence that makes everything look suspicious. The OIG didn't mince words. These failures created the environment where Epstein went unmonitored for hours, alone with excess linens he used to fashion a noose. Guards falsified rounds and counts. No cell search caught the buildup of materials. No cellmate assigned despite protocol. Layer after layer of breakdown. In true crime, visual proof often seals the story. Here, its absence keeps the door cracked open for doubt. Not because there's concrete evidence of murder or escape, but because the institution charged with his safety failed at basic security tech. When cameras don't work, when checks aren't done, when logs are faked, people fill the void with their worst fears. I've read the full 128-page report multiple times, cross-checked early news against later findings. The camera issues were real, documented, and inexcusable. They weren't the smoking gun some claim, but they sure amplified every other failure. What if the DVR had been maintained? What if repairs happened on August 8? Would we see definitive proof that closed the book? Those questions don't go away. They sit there, quiet but persistent, reminding us how fragile accountability becomes when systems rot from the inside. Epstein's death happened in that rot. The cameras, or lack of them, are just one visible symptom. I've dug deep into this one, pulling from the 2023 Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General report, court filings from the Southern District of New York, and the initial indictment details. The night shift failures at the Metropolitan Correctional Center's Special Housing Unit stand out as one of the most glaring breakdowns in the entire Epstein case. Here's the unsettling verified fact right up front. On the night of August 9 into August 10, 2019, 2 correctional officers assigned to monitor Jeffrey Epstein and the rest of the SHU inmates failed to conduct a single required 30-minute round after approximately 10:40 p.m., and no inmate counts happened in the unit after 4:00 p.m. the previous afternoon. They were supposed to check on him every...
The system failed us again. All them secret society, whatever, the elites and all that, that shit ain't cool, because they leave more morality out of it. It's pure satanic, I feel like. Now, even with the mafia, even with gangs, even with anything else, they got some morality in it, and the little, you know what I mean? They're not playing with the kids. Is not even a part of the you'll get killed for that type shit.
Nothing is off limit with these people. Nothing is off limit with these people.
That's crazy, and they want us to respect their little secret society and their elites and all that. Fuck out of here. When it's like y'all are just animals, basically.
Greedy. They want us to follow the rules for us, but the rules don't apply to them.
Greedy, manipulative animals, homie. It's funny how we get, we got the cell with the broken cameras. Yeah, come from a man. Man, we already see, man, it's too much, you know what I mean? Like you said, too many mistakes. But what I'm saying is, when he said the system failed us, it made me think about that shit, you feel me? This system is crazy. That's fucked up. There's no morality. It's all satanic. That's where they fucking up at. They gotta go, man, but
half hour. They didn't. Epstein was left completely unobserved for roughly 8 hours, alone in his cell with excess linens he used to fashion a noose. The two officers were Tova Noel and Michael Thomas. They were stationed at a desk in the SHU common area, diagonally across from Epstein's cell on L tier, maybe 15 feet away at most. BOP policy mandated visual checks every 30 minutes on SHU inmates, especially someone recently removed from suicide watch. Logs required documentation of each round, time, initials, observations. The same applied to inmate counts. Formal tallies to confirm everyone was accounted for, typically multiple times per shift. From the OIG's review, which interviewed staff, examined logs, and cross-referenced partial video, the timeline looks like this. Epstein returned to his cell around 7:49 p.m. after a legal visit, escorted by Noel. He appeared upbeat according to his lawyers earlier that day. The last documented movement near his tier entrance came shortly after 10:30 p.m. Noel briefly walked by the cell area. After that, nothing. No staff entered the tier. No rounds logged accurately. Noel and Thomas didn't perform the 10 p.m. institutional count. They skipped the required overnight rounds at 10:30 p.m., 11 p.m., 11.
Hey, what you say? You said they needed some extra few dollars, nigga. They need an extra couple hours, nigga.
Yeah, I'd see who's got a
bills.
Benz in that driveway or a house at the shore.
Oh,
Tripping.
they smart. Homie told them, yo, don't fucking go buy don't go tripping, yo.
Nah, yeah,
Chill out.
don't. No, they probably worked out some sweet deal where it's like their bank's just gonna pay it off a little extra overtime. You know what I mean? Like something sweet that they can't fuck up, and they're just like, you're gonna do this, and this is gonna be real sweet for you. And they're like, I mean, at that point, when you're in that position, at that point, it's like if I say no, I die. So I might as well just do it.
I mean, yeah, basically, when you think about
Because
it,
they probably broke it down and were like, look, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened in America. Like, when we fix this, it's over. No one's going to question us. So, like, you're all right. Just shut the fuck up.
yikes.
This
30
isn't like
p.m.,
some hit on
midnight.
a street corner. You know, this isn't a street corner hit. This is like a big thing if it was done that way. So, when the people got paid, their money was good and their safety was insured.
Yeah, them COs got paid.
And on through the early morning hours. 3:00 a.m., 5:00 a.m., the works. Prosecutors later said video showed them browsing the internet, shopping for furniture and motorcycles
Wow,
online,
they did do the
and
dumb
even
shit,
napping
huh?
at their
They did do the dumb shit, huh? Shopping immediately. You supposed to throw that shit to buy some whatever, Bitcoin or some shit and chill out. They went shopping immediately. Like
Exactly.
furniture, leather couches.
desk for stretches, including about 3 hours. The OIG confirmed significant portions of the shift passed without any supervision activity. Around 6:30 a.m., while distributing breakfast, they approached Epstein's cell. He was unresponsive, kneeling with a bedsheet tied around his neck and secured to the bunk. They called it in immediately. Noel told a supervisor, Epstein hung himself. CPR started, alarm pulled, but he was pronounced dead at New York Downtown Hospital shortly after 6:39 a.m. The logs told a different story.
Yeah.
Noel and Thomas falsified round sheets and count slips, entering false entries to make it appear they'd conducted checks throughout the night.
Damn.
The indictment charged them with conspiracy to make false records and multiple counts of falsifying documents. They admitted to the falsifications in deferred prosecution agreements, 100 hours of community service each, cooperation with the OIG, no jail time. Charges dropped in late 2021 after compliance. The OIG described this as significant misconduct and outright job performance failures. Staffing shortages played a role, MCC was chronically understaffed, officers pulling overtime, fatigue setting in. Noel and Thomas had worked extended shifts that week, but the report didn't excuse it. They were directly responsible for that post. The desk gave clear line of sight potential to the tier.
They said no jail time. Okay, I might get fired, whatever. Let me take my bag and bye bye. You never see me again.
Like I said, people that were paying them to do that, if that's the case, we're definitely strong enough to say you're going to get your money and you're not going to get in any trouble. Just shut the fuck up and take what comes. You're out of a job, but you don't need a job anymore.
I retired.
Yet checks stopped. Why no convincing explanation for abandoning protocol on such a high-profile, sensitive case? Epstein had been on suicide watch after a July 23 incident, found with a sheet around his neck, possible self-harm attempt. Removed from watch July 29, but psychology staff directed he needed a cellmate. His cellmate transferred out August 9. No replacement assigned. Email notifications went to over 70 staff. Still, he stayed solo. Excess linens accumulated, blankets, clothing, sheets. Items that should have been limited or removed in a high-risk scenario.
Wow.
A proper cell search would have caught that. Only one SHU search documented August 9, not his cell. These aren't isolated slips. They form a chain. No cellmate, unchecked excess materials, no rounds, falsified logs. Epstein unmonitored from roughly 10:40 p.m. until discovery. Conspiracy angles seize on this hard. They call it the perfect window. Guards conveniently absent, logs cooked to cover tracks, creating hours for intervention, staging, or removal without detection. Personal negligence gets reframed as deliberate facilitation. Why skip checks on the most watched inmate in the facility, people ask. Why falsify if it was just routine screw-up? The high connections, politicians, billionaires fuel the leap to coordinated cover-up. Sleeping on duty, internet shopping, napping. It looks too slow.
You really think, first of all, soon as these guards heard Epstein's coming here, they wasn't plotting on that bag? Please.
They knew it was possible.
We from the ghetto. We not perfect. We from the ghetto. They was plotting on that bag immediately. They were like, what? I could get me some bread. Even though, you know, it's fucked up, but at the same time, it's just the average, like 80%, you know what I mean? 8 out of 10 motherfuckers, they already plotting on the bag before they heard he coming. They plotting on that.
They knew someone was going to come around with something for them. Whether they were getting money off of Epstein to do whatever he had to do within the walls of that place, or somebody trying to get after him and get him out, then that would be it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if he's dead, to be honest. I don't put anything past these people.
Their ears is open for that money. I ain't gonna lie. You know,
For
it's
sure.
crazy. The Jay-Z shit, we talked about that or whatever, but when you think about who put that thing in, like, most of the urban culture, like money, and it's money over money, you feel me? Money over everything type shit, the obsession, like this crazy, deep obsession, because hip-hop wasn't about that in the beginning, you feel me? But now it's all money, but you gotta think about where that came from. So now that makes me think about what you were saying, like, yeah, he was put in position by those people to represent that money is everything, get your money and do anything for money.
And to also have him as a business guy they relate with, so they can tap into that market and start doing concert, like, you know, tours and shit, and getting big money. Because those are money people, so they want to invest in an untapped market, which at that time was hip hop.
Oh yeah, that's your point too. But I'm saying is,
But no, it's all of that. It's like, you know, these guys think way deeper than you and I do. So there's probably a lot more to it. That was just probably a couple of the points.
Oh yeah, because it's crazy how the females are right now. You feel me? In our community, in our culture, like they all money. I didn't give a fuck money. They gonna do anything. Go to Dubai, get shitted on by 100-pound, 1,000-pound. You know, they just gonna do anything for their money. He got that bag.
Wild.
That's all they worried about. Feel
Wild.
me? That culture, it wasn't like that in the beginning. So, yeah.
Happy to be coincidence in some eyes. I get the frustration. It's maddening. It's so frustrating. When you stack it with the camera issues, the unrecorded call, the timing of asset moves, the pattern screams incompetence at best, something darker at worst. The OIG itself said these failures eroded public trust and deprived victims of full accountability through the justice process. But here's the line I hold. No evidence from the OIG, FBI forensics, or medical examiner points to criminality beyond the misconduct. No unauthorized entry on partial video. No struggle signs inconsistent with hanging. Autopsy consistent with suicide. The Inspector General found no evidence contradicting the FBI's determination regarding the absence of criminality in connection with how Epstein died. The guards' actions enabled the opportunity, but didn't prove orchestration. The unknowns nag at you. Exactly what were they doing during those missing hours, beyond what video captured? Did fatigue alone explain it, or resentment, or distraction? Why no immediate alarm bells when the count skipped? Who approved the overtime without relief? And the bigger one, In a facility housing someone with Epstein's profile, how did basic protocols collapse so completely? It leaves space. Space for reflection. The system failed spectacularly. Negligence created the conditions. Whether that negligence crossed into something intentional remains unproven. No smoking gun, no witness flipping, no trail leading higher. Just a cascade of breakdowns in a troubled jail. I've read the full OIG report, the indictment, the plea docs, talked through timelines with people who followed every release. The guards left their posts in practice, abandoned checks, faked the paper trail. That's confirmed. It opened the door to tragedy. But doors open by accident more often than design in broken systems. This one was broken long before August. How many other nights, other inmates, slipped through similar cracks? What if one round had happened at 3 a.m.? What if the logs hadn't been altered? Would the outcome change? Those are the questions that don't close easily. They sit there, heavy, reminding us how fragile safeguards become when routine turns to neglect. Epstein died in that neglect. The guards' failures are part of the record. Undeniable, inexcusable, but they don't rewrite the cause of death. They explain how it became possible. Virgin Islands, news archives from 2019, and even later releases tied to transparency acts. One detail that keeps surfacing in discussions about Jeffrey Epstein's final days is the timing of his estate planning documents. Here's the core unsettling fact. On August 8, 2019, just 2 days before he was found unresponsive in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, Epstein signed a new last will and testament. That same day, he established a private entity called the 1953 Trust, named apparently for his birth year. The will directed his
What happened? Bush, can you hear me? I'm not sure what happened. The video.
Oh,
went
my
off.
bad. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Nah, I know we about to hear the finesse where he sent all the bread and all that. I'm about to get fuck it. I was ready to hit my computer because you about to hear it right now. They said he started up right before he died. He did a last will and testament. My bad. I was just like, had to pace myself. Let's go.
entire estate, valued at over $577 million, to pour over into that trust after debts, expenses, and taxes were handled. Walk me through what I found in the records. The will is an 11 or 20-page document, depending on attachments, filed for probate in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, where Epstein maintained residency and owned property. It revokes...
Oh, that's why the homie Scrap Skrilla, he said, you can't even see that property. You can't even go there. He still own that shit under that trust, probably. Or whatever.
Yeah, for sure, because you can't touch the money out there.
Wow, this shit is...
They smart, bro. Offshore doesn't apply to stupid American rules. Like our banking rules don't apply in Geneva, Switzerland, and all those places where they got big money and in the islands. It's the closest. The islands are the closest place that you can bring your money where you don't have to pay American bullshit.
And 500 mil, yeah. Now that's like because we know about the Elons and these guys with the big billions, but back then. And really, when you seen the interview, when they said about cash, he was like, it ain't about cash, it's about debt. And now I get it. You feel me?
The whole point is don't worry about having cash when people will give you collateral. Well, they will give you credit.
And that's deeper
Use
than
their money. Use their money.
I seen. Maybe other people seen it, but now I'm realizing what he was talking about too. Like that. That wasn't. It ain't. He wasn't able to do that because of just that money. Because that money really ain't. You know what I mean? It's because of his connects and his fucking the shit
he did that off the reputation. He did that off the people he was around. He did it off the facade of what he built. Damn good at it. Just turned out to be a complete scumbag.
Nasty work. I'm talking about even just getting out of there and being alive now. He had some deep, big, friends. Like it's different.
He has intelligence. He has intelligence behind him. He has Mossad, potentially CIA.
Intelligence.
All prior wills and codicils. Epstein declares himself of sound mind, under no undue influence. 2 witnesses, affidavits confirm they saw him sign willingly, include a lawyer known for representing high-profile clients. Exactors named are his longtime attorney Darren K. Indike and accountant Richard D. Kahn, with biotech venture capitalist Boris Nikolic as alternate in some versions. They are to pay funeral costs, administration fees, debts duly proven and allowed, then transfer the residue to the 1953 trust, created August 8, 2019. Assets listed: more than $56 million in cash, $14 million PFS in fixed income, properties in New York, Manhattan Townhouse, Palm Beach, Paris, New Mexico, Zorro Ranch, the Virgin Islands, 2 islands, $18.5 million in vehicles, aircraft, boats, plus art, antiques, collectibles awaiting appraisal. No individual beneficiaries appear in the public will itself. Everything funnels to the trust. The trust agreement itself stayed private at first, standard for revocable living trusts. It's a pour-over setup. The will catches anything not already titled in the trust's name and directs it there. Experts noted this structure is common for privacy. Wills become public during probate. Trusts often don't unless challenged or litigated. Timing hits hard. Epstein signed on Thursday, August 8. He died early Saturday, August 10. Less than...
Wow, the tactics, man. And then it's like, who controls it? The lawyer. Go to the lawyer. Oh, I can't disclose nothing else, buddy.
Yeah, that's his New York City residence. That's fire.
Imagine living there. See,
That's
we live
fire.
in New York, and to be,
Bro,
I
that'd
think
be
Scrap Skrilla
hard
seems like a New York
living
nigga
there.
too. But
That's such a look. He's got the mirror tint windows on the second floor. That's tough.
you fuck with him?
I don't fuck with him, but I fuck with that spot.
I'll just play. This some real live. It's gonna be all Oh my god, with these files. Imagine what's I'm sorry, but that's what I think about. It's gonna be a lot of movies, shows, documentaries, and all kind of shit. This is
Well, I
insane,
just
bro.
saw this pictures of somebody took pictures claiming that he's in Israel. He's got a beard and shit. And
That's
like
what I'm
a
saying.
vest
That's
on.
this one. He put up that picture, and this guy he sounds like a legitimate guy. He sounds like he's smart, and he did real research, and he's opening my eyes to a bunch of shit like about that trust, and he still got all his assets under some shit that he signed over just before he died. Please, nigga. They said he was suicidal, but he was all like, nah, because we seen how he act. He said he was cool in there.
Yeah, but
He,
bro, they signed the craziest insurance deal on the World Trade Center like a few weeks before that shit happened, and nobody says boo to that.
I say boo to all that shit. What you talking
Ah,
about?
so do I. But I'm saying, in the end, nothing comes of it.
Oh man,
It's
they
heartening.
still. You right. They still scared to death. Bill Gates talking that shit. Oh, you'll find out I had nothing to do with it. Shit, please. This guy is nasty. He was like trying to get rid of diseases. All up in the meetings with him. Like, oh, how do I get rid of this and that? Dealing with the girls, pictures with all the girls. Now he really want us to believe he wasn't. Please, nigga. Your wife said you was. His wife said, "Oh, I'm happy to get away from the muck."
Look, check it out. Even if people don't get prosecuted and go to jail, which is what I want, but even if that doesn't happen, at least it's coming out, and like these scumbags are gonna have to move a little cleaner if they want to continue being these dirtbags. And the people are now watching them, so that's cool. You know, at least it's getting exposed on a pretty grand scale.
Yeah, it's going up the ladder. It's going up the ladder good.
in 48 hours. He'd been in MC since July, facing federal sex trafficking charges. Bail denied. A prior apparent self-harm incident in July landed him briefly on suicide watch, then off it. His cellmate removed August 9. Guards failed checks overnight. Why act then? Estate lawyers say people facing mortality often update plans. Epstein knew his legal exposure. Creditors, including dozens of women alleging harm as minors, were lining up. A trust could shield details, though revocable ones don't block creditors. Irrevocable might, but evidence points to revocable. Assets stayed taxable in his estate, subject to claims. The gray areas pile up. The trust's full terms weren't public initially. Beneficiaries unnamed in the will. No clear trail showing assets fully retitled into the trust pre-death. Likely not, per analysts, meaning executors handled distribution post-probate, paying debts.
Rolex is a trust too,
Yeah.
huh? That's
No, well, I mean, that's not always conspiracy stuff. Like, that's just good business. When you're bringing in X amount of money, you can do other things with it. And if you can set your money up in a different way instead of an
that's
LLC,
basically
you can make it a trust. There's sole proprietorship. There's different ways to open things up. But like, Look into Starbucks. They're the world's largest unregulated bank technically, because they sell the Starbucks cards where you put money on the card and then you got it. It's a debit card basically for Starbucks. It's a
Hmm.
gift card, but it's a little bit more involved than just being a gift card. And what happens is there's so many people that they'll use $10 on a 20, 50, $100 card and they don't use the rest. They lose it, they don't use it, whatever. Now that means that Starbucks, based on the contract, they're allowed to use the money that sits in the pool that's waiting to be used. They can use that to invest. Well, they have an insane amount of money in that pool to invest because of all the people that buy these cards all the time, and they either don't use them or they sit on them a while. So they're sitting on like billions of dollars that's tax free for them to invest based on the way they set up their company using gift cards, basically.
Wow. Hey,
Pretty on
I'm not
point.
mad at them.
Nah, hell
The
no. But
trust
I'm
is
saying it's
basically,
like the average person looks at like the way that people will say this stuff in the media. The way they portray it is that it's evil, but then when you get down to the math of it, it's just smart business.
yeah, that's smart business. But the trust is basically taking the responsibility out of like a certain like the CEO or and the CEOs and all that, and just it's a trust now, basically, huh? That's what it means. Like as far as I gotta look it up, like the definition of this. You feel me?
It depends because I know what like a civil trust is. I don't know what a business trust looks like in $1 billion company.
I'm gonna look it up.
First, many details of finances, exact trust provisions, distributions, how much went where, remained opaque for years. Later releases under acts like the Epstein Files Transparency Act showed more provisions for specific people, large bequests to associates like Indike and Khan, mentions of others including a dentist named Karina Shuliak as a major potential recipient with annuity and property ties. Handwritten notes referenced gifts in contemplation of marriage, but in 2019 the public saw a black box. Conspiracy circles grabbed this tight. They framed the August 8 signing as prep for vanishing, restructure assets so someone or Epstein himself could still benefit quietly if death was staged. Why rush a new will and trust right before dying, they ask. Why hide beneficiaries if it's straightforward suicide? The closeness to death fuels it. Final moves to protect wealth from victims' claims or signal to handlers that plans were set. Timing too neat amid jail failures, unrecorded call, broken cameras, absent guards. It's maddening. It really is. When you layer it on everything else, systemic MCC breakdowns, no transparency in key moments, the financial shuffle looks like part of a larger puzzle. Why create privacy layers days before the end? Did he anticipate claims swallowing the estate? Or was it contingency for something else?
It's crazy, and it lets you know how they look at them. To they look at themselves compared to everybody else. He never was worried when they asked him about jail in the last interview. He was like, "No, it's just my candy bars and whatever else." He never was worried at no point. He always knew. You feel me? He wasn't worried at no point. He knows how to manipulate every. He's a
Yeah, he kind of
with the.
seemed like a guy who knew he had a file coming in a cake the last day and he was going to just get out.
Oh my God. This motherfucker. Look at these the way they manipulate everything. Geniuses. Well, you got the best lawyers, of course, and I guess, but it's crazy how you could actually manipulate all this shit and make it to where you on the island somewhere laid up with all your monies.
Yo, but check it out. Look, if they got him out of there, that means there are cameras somewhere on the outside that got video of him getting in a car, getting in a van, getting somewhere.
Man, please. It ain't that
That,
serious. It ain't
that
that
video
simple.
that video exists. We'll never see it, but somebody's got it.
It ain't him walking in no car or something. It could have been all kind of I don't know how
What,
they do it.
load him up in a police
Yeah, some shit
vehicle
like that.
from
You know.
inside and take him out? Yeah, but then you can see that car leave within like 2 minutes of him supposed to be being in there. It could happen.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully,
there,
I want to see this.
but that's old school Brooklyn down there. So there could just be tunnels that lead out to like 3 blocks away out
That's what
there.
I'm saying. And
Yeah,
he's he's Jewish,
sure.
and there's hella tunnels under the
They
fucking New
definitely
York.
they.
Nah, I'm not. For real, you talking
No,
about
that's
like a
good.
damn movie,
No,
like a
that's
Van
good.
Damme movie. You see the
That,
guy rushing to the car and get
no, but
man.
that was happening during COVID out in Crown Heights. That was happening. We saw it.
He
That's a little
said,
New York humor for you, a little history from New York. But yeah, no, I mean, plus that's a really important federal prison in New York City and Brooklyn. So they definitely have tunnels that'll bring you out somewhere else just based off the fact that it's New York. But then on top of that, because it's such a high risk place, they bring people in and out of there in the random spots.
Yeah, celebrities and shit.
Yeah, they sneak you in the back of the Chinese food restaurant 3 corners down, then you walk down a long ass tunnel and you're good. Right into jail.
Pick up some fried chicken wings and rice.
Hell yeah.
But the facts hold firm. The will's validity wasn't seriously contested on capacity grounds. No strong evidence he lacked sound mind. Witnesses affirmed no coercion. Medical examiner ruled suicide by hanging. OIG report found no criminality in death circumstances beyond guard misconduct. Estate proceeded through probate. Assets liquidated over years. Properties sold, often at distressed values. Massive payouts followed. Over $170 million to victims via compensation fund. $105 million to U.S. Virgin Islands in settlement, taxes, fees. Estate shrank dramatically, down to tens of millions, then partial recoveries like a $112 million IRS refund. Remaining value tied up in litigation, investments. No proof the trust enabled escape or fake death. No trail showing Epstein accessed funds post-2019. Beneficiaries named in later unsealed pages are associates, not shadowy figures proving orchestration. Executors faced scrutiny, lawsuits alleging they aided Epstein, but nothing overturned the suicide finding or estate basics. The unknowns linger, though. Exact trust mechanics in 2019, revocable provisions, change clauses, full beneficiary list then versus later. Why no prior public updates despite known pressures? How much restructuring actually shielded anything given creditor priority? Those gaps keep speculation alive. Not from hard evidence he's out there benefiting, but from a system that allowed such opacity at the end. When a man with Epstein's profile rushes estate docs amid mounting doom, people wonder what he knew or feared. I've read the will scans, probate petitions, later DOJ releases. Cross-checked timelines. The signing happened, the trust formed, assets redirected privately, that's documented. But it doesn't rewrite cause of death. It explains one more layer of how his world ended, controlled, private, contested. What if he'd updated earlier? What if terms surfaced sooner? Those questions hang there, heavy, unresolved, reminding us how much stays hidden, even after everything unravels. I've chased down leads in cases that drag on for decades, piecing together timelines from dusty court files and faded witness statements. But few haunt me like the one that unfolded in Boulder, Colorado on October 13, 1999. That crisp autumn afternoon, District Attorney Alex Hunter stepped up to a podium outside the Boulder County Justice Center, facing a swarm of reporters hungry for answers in the JonBenét Ramsey murder. No trial, no courtroom drama, just a case left hanging, unresolved, like a story cut off mid-sentence. Let me back up and lay out the people involved, keeping it concise and respectful, because this isn't about sensationalism, it's about real lives shattered. JonBenét Ramsey was a bright-eyed 6-year-old, a child beauty pageant contestant with a smile that lit up rooms. She lived in a sprawling home in Boulder with her parents, John and Patsy Ramsey. John, a successful businessman, Patsy, a former pageant queen herself, and her older brother, Burke, who was 9 at the time. The family seemed...
Okay, I don't know where he going with that.
Yeah. We've talked about that once before. Many years ago.
But salute to him, man. That was I'm convinced on that. Basically, like the boy.
Yo, salute to the chat for knowing what's going on out here. I like it.
Big facts.
Everybody's well informed.
Hold up though, cause I want to see something else. Hold up. But yeah, man, I'm pretty much convinced that's too much mistakes. You feel me? It's like, nah, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold up.
I mean, look, we got to look at it this way. Conspiracy theories are tough. They sound cool, right? We want them to be true, and they seem like they fit for all sorts of things. But then you find out, like, the truth is never blame on a conspiracy theory what you can explain away with stupidity. However, that being said, when you have 10, 15 major things in a row that aren't being done, and then all of a sudden somebody disappears or gets killed in jail, and then nobody really sees the body, like, now at that point you have every right to say this is bullshit, because it's all the way
bullshit. That smoke, that fire. Sorry. All right, this one guy. he did a little presentation on why he's saying he's definitely alive or whatever. Let's check him out. You feel
Check
me?
it
His
out.
channel, his channel is it's the Jimmy Dore Show. And he's
Oh,
a big
Jimmy Dore.
channel.
Yeah, shout out Jimmy
Yeah,
Dore.
you know Jimmy Dore.
He's a big dog.
Yeah, big dog. Almost 2 million.
I watch his show all the time. He's funny.
Let's check him out.
Think they switched him out. So I guess the headline on this one would be that
Got an echo.
there's certain evidence that suggests that Jeffrey Epstein isn't dead, and there's nothing that I wouldn't believe about this case. I wouldn't dismiss anything. I certainly
Correct.
don't dismiss this. And so why do I say this? Well, because in the Epstein files, as Heather C. says, this is huge. The individual who anonymously posted on 4chan the morning of Epstein's death, August 10th, 2019, claiming he witnessed weird happenings at the prison before Epstein's death, has been identified in the Epstein files. Roberto Grijalva, an officer at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, has been identified as the anonymous prison employee who posted on 4chan claiming Epstein left his cell Friday evening shackled in a medical wheelchair, while at the same time an unauthorized trip van arrived at the prison, which he believes took Epstein away that night before the news broke of his death.
Oh yeah, you said a van. He got in a van.
Hey now.
The day after Epstein's death, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman of the Southern District of New York opened a grand jury proceeding and subpoenaed 4chan, Apple, AT&T, and Citibank for records aiming to uncover Grijalva's identity following the anonymous 4chan post. Grijalva's name is not redacted on his bank records included in the SDNY subpoena response from the Citibank for his 4chan post, and ties to the same prison officer, Roberto Grijalva, whose statements were released as part of the prison's investigation into Epstein's death. This is huge. We now have validation. The 4chan post from August 10th, 2019, is a legitimate eyewitness account from the MCC prison officer that Epstein may have been switched out before news broke of his alleged suicide. And so here, it's like I've been saying, it looks like easy money to be a lookalike until that one job that you don't want shows up.
Like
So,
Bourdain, they say it's Bourdain. I don't know if that's true, but that's who they say they switched him with.
So, not saying anything after this, please do not try to dox me. But last night, after 04:15 count, they took him medical in a wheelchair from front cuffed, but not one triage nurse says they spoke to him. Next thing we know, a trip van shows up. We do not do releases on the weekends unless a judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single man cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing. The trip van did not sign in, and we did not record the plate number, and a guy in a green dress military outfit was in the back of the van, according to the tower guy who let him through the gate. You guys, I am shaking right now, but I think they switched him out.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
so hard to believe.
Hey now.
What'd you
That's
say?
heavy.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's not. Even if it didn't happen, it is plausible, especially with all the weird shit that happened. I'd say it's likely, but even if it didn't really happen, it's not strange for anyone to think it did. If he just died and then they took him out and that was it, and we all saw the body, and people were like, "No, he didn't really die," but that's a stretch. But all this makes it look like that happened, or maybe he really is dead, and they did all this fuck shit just to make people think he's still alive, just to keep it a problem.
I don't know.
Who knows?
so not hard to believe at all. Kurt was being sarcastic.
Sorry, I apologize.
Thanks. I appreciate the sarcasm. And so here we go. not saying anything after. So this is it. That's him, and that's how it's in the files. That's what I just read to you. There it is. Signatory details for Roberta Grival. There it is. Let's keep going. This is, there it is, United Metropolitan Correctional Center Memorandum, Grivalda, on Friday, August 9th, 2019 at approximately 1:15 p.m. Grivalda passed on to the oncoming staff member, Officer Davis, and present shift staff, Shakir and Officer Joyner, that inmate Reyes was going WAB and possibly may not return. Also, the inmate Epstein will be needing a cellmate upon arrival from his attorney visit. So here is, I don't know if you've seen this, Kurt, but I stumbled across this on the Twitters, and so I've seen things like this before, and I never looked into them until I found about this guard saying this stuff.
Yeah.
So they say this is the picture of Jeffrey Epstein that they said is Jeffrey Epstein when he died. This is actually Jeffrey Epstein, and you can see that they have a different nose. Not only that,
his nose settled when he died.
not only that, but they have a different ear. So the dead guy's ear goes like this. Jeffrey Epstein's goes like that. So
Right.
one goes up, one goes down. So
You don't think the hanging from the bed sheets adjusted his ears? Maybe.
so here's a closer look.
Maybe.
That's dead Epstein. This is live Epstein. Not the same people. Different nose, different ear.
Well,
Here,
what I say-
there's the dead Epstein's ear, and here's the live Epstein's ear. Do you see the difference? That's a big difference. Also, the nose is is different. So now I'm not a doctor, so I don't know if people's ears change when they die. I don't know if people's noses change when they die. Maybe they do, but now we know that there's a plausible and a credible assertion that Jeffrey Epstein got switched out and he's actually not dead, which is what I thought, but I dismissed it in my own head. I'm like, I bet that. No,
Yeah.
they switched
I know
him,
what you
and he's
mean, yeah.
probably living on an island somewhere right now that we don't know where it is. So I'm not saying that is a fact. I can't, but I'm saying I wouldn't dismiss it.
Oh, I bet all my WorldCoin on it, all my Sam Altman WorldCoin, that it is a fact. First of all, I said yesterday or Monday, if Epstein's dead, then he worked for Mossad. If he's alive, Mossad worked for him. And the reason I say it's true is because he's the representative of the Rothschild family. That's why BB's got to send torture videos to him. Okay, remember his other email that people put together that was probably BB? Oh, what a surprise. Oh, I need to see more evidence. I couldn't believe something like that. So basically, he's not some working class kid from Coney Island. That's a big bullshit story. The Epstein family name's an old family name. And in the files, it tells you about it. I can't remember which Rothschild. She goes, yeah, so apparently Hitler stayed in that poorhouse, when he was an artist, and it was run by the Rothschilds, the Epsteins, and some other name. And it turned out to be true. Yeah. So what happens is these sick fucking families Candace was talking about, they always give a kid up to the network for the thing to advance their family. And the real payment, and my friend Nathan told me this, the payment is you don't get wealth. If you want to start your own kingdom, they give you the black book of contacts. That's the important thing to have. And he was talking about his family, but what was the big thing Epstein had? Oh yeah, the black book. That's and then you're supposed to go out and earn on your own, like a hoodlum or a gangster. That's what that is. So yeah, no, he wasn't a poor working class kid. He wasn't no genius. He was the Rothschilds representative.
Wow. So wait, because you said he was just a kid from Brooklyn who, you feel me? I didn't know all this. Wow.
Yeah, but that could just be the humble beginnings. Like his parents went out there, and his parents were just old school, so they kept it humble. But they knew that their son was that guy because of his lineage, so they made it look like that. But all of a sudden, he's getting into the best places all of a sudden out of nowhere. So he had the connects. He just made it look like a humble beginning, so that can be part of his fucking origin story.
Yeah,
it's a plot. It's a plan. They play chess, not checkers, like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's true. Because when they asked him, oh, how did a schmuck like you get into the Rockefeller thing? He definitely didn't say, oh, I'm a Rothschild. Nah, he didn't say none of that.
No.
This motherfucker slick stuff.
That's why he would be on the Trilateral Commission at the age of 30. Do you remember yourself at 30?
Right.
You think you would sit on that?
On the trilateral. Yeah, I know.
And Epstein, I sound way smarter than him. He sounds like a jerk off in interviews. He don't sound at all impressive. So clearly, he is the representative of the Rothschilds at the Trilateral Commission, just like they send people to Bilderberg, and there's even bigger names than them that you never get to hear. He's a rep. That's why he's more important than Israel itself, because the Rothschilds, as you know, are why Israel exists, the Balfour Declaration, etc.
Oh, that's correct.
Amazing.
They don't live there, do they? Were they dying to go home? No. They want it there because they're fucked up people.
Now we're going to be inundated with the conspiracy theories about this. Like, he secretly had Macron's vagina, and they had to move him to a woman's facility.
Oh, I didn't think of that, Jimmy. Maybe Macron's had a vagina the whole time, and it wasn't that his wife had What a twist.
Wow.
That's funny. Kurt Metzger is very funny, and he says things, and he's often right months later, years later. He really knows his shit. He gets
Let's
deep in
stop
it.
glazing him and stick to the subject, all right?
I'm just saying, like, he's good. That was a good clip that you pulled up.
So dude said when on the last video, dude, he was about to start telling where the money come from. I guess I'll go back and see, because I mean where the money was going as far as the trust, I think. So let me rewind one more time real quick. But yeah, I didn't know that. Berad, did you know that he's a Rothschild or whatever type of thing?
He married into that family because he comes from the Maxwell family, which is an offshoot of the Rothschilds.
He said he married into it.
I believe he was, right? But that's her family. That's the Maxwell family.
Reporters hungry for answers.
Okay. My style is I learn with my people.
I think. I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that. Maybe he just has a direct connection to them. So I think their family name is just tied with their family name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a confidant family.
Let me see what this JonBenét Ramsey thing got to do with the whole situation.
In the JonBenét Ramsey murder, no trial, no courtroom drama, just a case left hanging, unresolved, like a story cut off mid-sentence. Let me back up and lay out the people involved, keeping it concise and respectful, because this isn't about sensationalism, it's about real lives shattered. JonBenét Ramsey was a bright-eyed 6-year-old, a child beauty pageant contestant with a smile that lit up rooms. She lived in a sprawling home in Boulder with her parents John and Patsy Ramsey. John, a successful businessman, Patsy, a former pageant queen herself, and her older brother Burke, who was 9 at the time. The family seemed picture-perfect from the outside, but on December 26, 1996, everything imploded when Patsy called 911 to report JonBenét missing, claiming they'd found a ransom note demanding $118,000. Hours later, John discovered her body in the basement, strangled and with a severe head injury. The Boulder Police Department jumped in, but the investigation turned into a media circus, with accusations flying and the Ramseys under intense scrutiny. Victims like JonBenét deserve our empathy first. She was just a kid, full of potential, taken in the most heartbreaking way. Her parents, thrust into the spotlight, maintained their innocence, insisting an intruder was responsible. And then there's Alex Hunter, the longtime DA, a veteran prosecutor known for his cautious approach, who became the gatekeeper in deciding if this would ever see a courtroom. Now, walk me through the timeline. I've reconstructed it step by step from official records, grand jury leaks, and later court unsealing. It starts on Christmas night, 1996. The Ramseys had attended a party earlier, returned home around 9 p.m. JonBenét was put to bed. The next morning, Patsy finds the ransom note on the back staircase, 2.5 pages, oddly specific, demanding that exact amount which matched John's recent bonus. Police arrive by 6 a.m., search the house, but miss the basement wine cellar initially. Around 1 p.m., John, urged by a detective to check the house again, finds JonBenét's body wrapped in a blanket, her wrists loosely bound, a garrote around her neck made from a paintbrush handle from the home. Autopsy confirms cause of death: asphyxiation due to strangulation with craniocerebral trauma. No signs of forced entry, but a broken basement window raises questions. The investigation ramps up fast. Boulder PD focuses on the parents early, fiber evidence from Patsy's jacket on the duct tape over JonBenét's mouth, handwriting analysis on the ransom note that couldn't rule Patsy out, inconsistencies in timelines. But mistakes pile up. Crime scene contaminated by friends and family wandering through, no immediate separation of the Ramseys for interviews. By January 1997, the Ramseys hire lawyers and PR, fueling public suspicion. Media frenzy explodes. Tabloids scream headlines. TV shows dissect every detail. Boulder PD presents their case to Hunter in June 1998, pushing for a grand jury because they believe the evidence points inside the home. Hunter, after consulting experts, agrees. The grand jury convenes September 15, 1998. 12 jurors plus alternates, hearing from over 30 witnesses, reviewing hundreds of exhibits over 13 months. They meet in secret, as grand juries do, probing everything. DNA under JonBenét's fingernails. Unidentified male, but touch DNA tech was nascent. The pineapple in her stomach matching the bowl upstairs. The Ramseys' interviews, they finally sat for formal ones in April 1997. Police testify about staging theories, the ransom note written on a pad from the house, no footprints in the snow outside. Defense experts counter with intruder possibilities, boot print near the body, stun gun marks. The jury votes in late September 1999. Sources later confirmed. Specifically, the True Bill accuses them of permitting JonBenét to be in a situation that posed a threat of injury, leading to her death, and assisting someone who committed first-degree murder by concealing evidence. But October 13, 1999, turning point number 1. Hunter holds that press conference. He praises the jury's work but says, "I and my prosecution task force believe we do not have sufficient evidence to warrant the filing of charges against anyone who has been investigated at this time." No mention of the indictment vote. The grand jury dismisses without public fanfare. Case stalls. The Ramseys move to Atlanta. Patsy battles cancer. She passes in 2006. John remarries. In 2008, new DA Mary Lacey exonerates the family based on advanced DNA testing matching an unknown male on JonBenét's clothing and long johns. But in 2013, another turning point, a lawsuit by a reporter forces unsealing of the indictment pages. Boom. The world learns the grand jury wanted charges, but Hunter nixed it. Fast forward to today, 2026. Boulder PD forms a cold case team in 2023, consulting FBI, but no arrests. The story lingers. Those turning points altered everything. First, the grand jury vote itself. It's not a trial, folks. Grand juries operate in secret, hear only the prosecutor's side, decide if there's probable cause to charge, not guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Thresholds lower, think more likely than not. They voted yes, believing enough smoke for a fire. But Hunter's refusal? That's the pivot. He consulted his team, including special prosecutors like Michael Caine. They worried about proving intent, the DNA complicating an insider theory, potential reasonable doubt from intruder evidence presented by Lou Smith, a detective who resigned believing the family innocent. Hunter, known for plea deals over trials, critics called him Alex Plea Hunter, didn't want a high-profile loss. He later said in interviews he had no regrets, emphasizing ethical duty not to charge without winnable proof. Why did Hunter bail? I've pored over his statements. He thought the evidence was circumstantial, no smoking gun, no confession, no eyewitness. The parents' polygraphs, passed but privately administered, muddied waters. Public pressure was immense. Ramseys had deep pockets for defense. Media would crucify a botched prosecution. Hunter feared acquittal would taint the case forever, preventing future charges if new evidence emerged. But here's the rub. By not going to trial, he locked in limbo. No cross-examination of witnesses, no jury deliberation on full evidence. It's maddening. It's so frustrating. You have a grand jury saying charge them, but the DA plays gatekeeper solo. Now, the system fallout, it's terrible for everyone. For the Ramseys, no trial means no chance to clear their names in court. They lived under suspicion. Patsy died without vindication beyond Lacey's letter. John still fights stigma. For JonBenét, justice stalled. Victims deserved their day. Evidence tested, truths unearthed. Without trial, narratives splinter. Intruder theorists point to DNA. Family skeptics cite the note, fibers. Everything coexists in parallel, no resolution. Grand jury trial, remember. Trial brings defense rebuttal, public scrutiny. Here it's half-baked, probable cause found, but dropped. Compare to other cases that went to trial, even imperfectly. Take O.J. Simpson, 1995, charged with double murder, massive evidence, but acquitted after a trial exposing racial biases, police mishandling. Flawed? Absolutely. But it ended, verdict rendered, public saw the process. Or Casey Anthony, 2011, accused of killing her daughter Kaylee. Grand jury indicted. Trial happened despite weak forensics. Acquitted on murder, but convicted on lying. Again, closure of sorts. Debate rages, but the system ran its course. Even Robert Durst. Multiple trials, convictions in some, acquittals in others. Messy, but examined. In Ramsey, no such erring. It's like a book with the last chapters ripped out. What a nightmare for truth seekers. Known facts are clear. Murder December 26, 1996. Grand jury September 1998 to October 1999. Hunter refused, per his presser and later confirmations.
That's how they kept it going. Legacy, legacy. Said my seeds go with his seeds, marry his seeds. That's how we keep it all up in the family. Yeah.
It's the name of the game.
DNA exoneration in 2008 by Lacey, based on touch DNA from an unknown male. Case unsolved official. Unknowns? Plenty. What exactly did the grand jury hear that convinced them? Full transcripts sealed forever. Colorado law protects grand jury secrecy unless indicted. Why Hunter's team split. Some prosecutors pushed for charges, others balked. Was it politics? Hunter faced re-election pressure. Boulder's liberal vibe favored caution. And the big one, who really did it? DNA points outsider, but behavioral evidence, note staging, screams insider. No matches in databases yet. My heart goes out to JonBenét. Her story deserves answers. In closing, I'm left with thoughtful questions that won't fade. A case that never went to trial, is it justice delayed or justice denied? Did Hunter heroically prevent a miscarriage, as some say, or rob us of resolution? What if he'd signed, would a jury convict, or expose flaws? How many parallel truths can one story hold before truth itself fractures? It's mind-boggling. We owe it to victims like her to keep digging, keep reflecting. Because in the end, unfinished force, but it fizzled. 2000, new DA Lacey shifts to intruder theory. 2016, CBS doc accuses Burke, sued, settled. Layers upon layers. I've spent countless hours piecing together timelines like this one, cross-referencing reports from the Department of Justice, medical examiner findings, and witness statements that trickle out over the years. But nothing quite unsettles me like the final 48 hours of Jeffrey Epstein's life inside the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City, from August 8 to August 10, 2019. Here's the core fact that keeps nagging at me. In those 2 days, a man facing the weight of federal charges rearranged his vast fortune, made a secretive phone call, lost his cellmate, went unmonitored overnight amid systemic failures, and was found dead by morning, all aligning in a sequence that feels too precise to ignore, yet stubbornly resists easy conclusions. Let me set the scene briefly, with the respect this demands. Epstein was a financier with a tangled web of high-profile connections, held on serious federal charges that could have meant life behind bars. He'd been in MC since early July, denied bail, and briefly on suicide watch after an incident weeks earlier where he was found with marks around his neck. By August, the pressure was mounting, victims speaking out, assets frozen, the world closing in. The people around him? Guards overworked in a crumbling facility, lawyers handling last-minute affairs, and a system riddled with cracks. I'm not here to sensationalize. I'm here to lay out what we know, step by step, because that's how truth emerges, from the details, not the drama. Walk me through those 48 hours. It starts on Thursday, August 8, 2019. Epstein, confined to the special housing unit, signs a new last will and testament. He's in his cell or a meeting area. Records show he met with attorneys that day. The document, later filed in the U.S. Virgin Islands where he claimed residency, revokes all prior wills and funnels his entire estate, over $577 million in cash, properties, art, planes, and more, into a newly created entity called the 1953 Trust, nodding to his birth year. Executors named his longtime lawyer Darren Indyk and accountant Richard Kahn. No public beneficiaries listed, everything pours over privately. It's a classic pour-over will, designed for discretion. Wills go public in probate, but trusts? They can stay shielded. He declares himself of sound mind. Witnesses affirm no duress. Done, signed, notarized, all in one afternoon. Why then? Estate planners tell me people update docs when mortality stares them down, facing trial, health scares. Epstein knew the stakes. Creditors loomed, including those harmed in his orbit seeking restitution. This move could organize affairs, perhaps shield details from prying eyes. But the timing, 2 days before death, raises eyebrows. It's not frantic scribbling, it's calculated restructuring. Assets retitled, partially, per later probate. The trust becomes the black box holding his empire. Fast forward to Friday, August 9 afternoon. Epstein's day includes a legal visit. His attorneys stop by, discussing who knows what. Around 7 p.m., staff escorts him to a shower area for a phone call. Not a standard inmate line, this is the attorney-client setup, unmonitored, unrecorded. He tells the officer he's calling his mother, who died years earlier in 2004. Red flag? Should have been. The guard dials a New York number anyway. A man answers, passes the phone. Epstein speaks for about 15 minutes to a woman later identified as a girlfriend in Belarus. Conversation topics, media.
You can't blame them guards when a rich motherfucker like that is saying, yeah, throw him whatever, couple thousand, let me use this phone, you feel me? I'm sorry, like, because you know they did it though. Let me use this phone. Who you calling? Yeah, my mother, don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah, but he had like full run of that place. He was in the fucking, he was renting out the, like one of the lawyer rooms that's not bugged with him and all his people from his company and his lawyers all day long. He bought out the vending machines every day just for the fuck of it and then threw it all out at the end of the day if he didn't need any of it. Like, he had the full way in there. Him using an untapped line isn't a problem. They're like, yeah, all right, no problem. I can run this motherfucker anyway.
Frenzy, books, music, jail hygiene. Casual per her lawyer's summary to investigators. No transcript exists, no audio captured. He's back in his cell by 7:49 p.m. Video shows him walking the stairs with an escort. Locked in. That call sticks with me. Policy violation clear. Unmonitored for a high-risk inmate. The lie about his mother? Unchallenged in the moment. Content? We have basics, but gaps breed questions. Was it tying loose ends? A farewell? Or just grasping for normalcy? Evening deepens. Around 6 p.m. that day, before the call, his cellmate gets transferred out. Nicholas Tartaglione, facing his own charges, moves to another unit. Protocol after Epstein's July incident called for a companion to prevent self-harm. Psychology staff emailed over 70 people. Keep him bunked. Yet no replacement arrives. He's alone now, with excess linens, sheets, blankets, accumulating. No cell search documented that night. A proper shakedown would have spotted risks. Night falls. Guards Tova Noel and Michael Thomas take the overnight shift in the SHU common area, desk 15 feet from his tier. Policy, 30-minute visual checks, logged counts. Last movement near his cell around 10:40 p.m., Noel briefly passes by. After that, nothing. No rounds at 11 p.m., midnight, 3 a.m., 5 a.m. Video, partial, from one working camera shows no entry to the tier. But the guards? Browsing online, napping, shopping for furniture. Logs falsified to claim checks done. Systemic rot. DVR failures since July mean no full recordings. Half the cameras offline. Live feeds unwatched. Staffing shortages, overtime fatigue, it all converges. Saturday, August 10, dawn breaks. Around 6:30 a.m., breakfast rounds. Guards approach his cell. Epstein's unresponsive. kneeling, sheet noose around his neck, tied to the bunk. Alarm sounds. CPR attempted. Rushed to hospital. Pronounced dead at 6:39 a.m. Autopsy. Hanging, suicide. No defensive wounds inconsistent with self-infliction. Toxicology clean. That's the chain. Will signed, trust formed, secretive call, cellmate gone, unmonitored night, body found. Each link documented in the 2023 OIG report, indictments, probate files. It's maddening. It's so frustrating. How do so many pieces align? Turning points jump out. First, the will on August 8 shifts control of his legacy. Second, the call on August 9, last private words shrouded. Third, cellmate removal isolates him. Fourth, guard failures overnight, creates the window. Fifth, discovery ends it all. Each could stand alone as coincidence or negligence. Together, a cascade. Known facts hold steady. Timeline from OIG interviews, video snippets, logs falsified but admitted. Medical examiner Barbara Sampson rules suicide. FBI forensics back no foul play. No tier entry, no tampering evidence. Guards charged with falsification. Deferred prosecution. Estate proceeds, victims compensated via fund, settlements paid. Unknowns? Plenty. Exact trust terms in 2019. Full beneficiaries? Call content beyond summary. Coded messages? Why no cellmate replacement despite alerts? Guard motives, pure exhaustion or distraction. And the big one, Epstein's mindset. Despair? Calculation? Fear? Here's where I pivot, because I'm not chasing who killed him. That path leads to shadows. Instead, let's reflect. If you knew the end was near, facing something irreversible, no escape, what would you do in those last 48 hours? It's a question that humanizes, forces us to think about
The island. Some people just, man.
What would I do with the last?
Devil, you get shit like that, Berad. You gonna do it?
What would I do with those last hours?
No, you sell your soul to the devil, you get shit like this.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I'd buy a Nantucket, play lotto, and say fuck it.
Haha, gangster. Okay.
about psychology over plot twists. Epstein's actions, rearrange finances, reach out privately, then isolation. It screams control, one last grasp at ordering his world. Compare to other cases I've studied. Take Ted Bundy, executed in 1989. His final days, confessions to detectives, detailing crimes to buy time or unburden. No financial tweaks, he was penniless, but that urge to narrate, to shape legacy. Fear mixed with acceptance. Or Aaron Hernandez, NFL star, suicide in prison 2017, days before. Legal wins on old charges, but facing life for murder. He wrote notes to loved ones, smoked K2, then hanged himself. A bid for peace perhaps, or escape consequences. Acceptance and isolation. Then Gary Ridgway, Green River killer, spared death in 2003 for cooperating. Final plea negotiations, detailing bodies, mapping sites, control through information, trading for life. Or Jodi Arias, convicted 2013 but pre-trial. Journaling obsessively, media interviews. Fear-driving documentation. In suicide notes from death row, like Danny Rolling, Gainesville Ripper, executed 2006, he penned poems, apologies. Psychological patterns emerge, tidying affairs, wills, calls, isolation, cellmate gone, unmonitored, then act. Not conspiracy. Human response to trapped despair. My heart goes out to those affected. Victims denied trial. Families in limbo. What a nightmare. Fascinating, right? This chain, random mishaps or psychological ripple when all exits close, leaves space for thought, as it should. I've read the reports cover to cover, timelines synced, but questions linger. What if one link broke? Cellmate stays, guards check, call monitored, outcome shifts.
This guy doesn't sound like a conspiracy theorist either. I ain't gonna hold you. You feel me?
No,
It's like,
no.
nah.
It's urgent we reflect. In final hours, do we all seek that last control? Epstein's story reminds us, systems fail, but minds endure, shaping ends in quiet ways. Let's expand on comparisons. Consider John List, Family Annihilator, 1971. Before fleeing, he wrote confession letters, paid bills, arranged music for his funeral. Meticulous planning amid acceptance of his path. Fear of poverty drove him, but those acts? Last control. Or Philip Markoff, Craigslist killer, suicide in jail 2010. Final days, stockpiled pills, wrote fiancé's name in blood. Despair manifesting in symbols. Patterns. Financial wrap-ups, Epstein's trust, List's bills. Communication, calls, notes. Isolation enabling end. Unknowns in Epstein. Did he anticipate failures or exploit them? Known, MCC's chronic issues, understaffing, tech breakdowns, predated him. It's mind-boggling how alignment feels orchestrated, yet traces to negligence. What would you do? I'd call loved ones, settle debts, reflect. Epstein's version. Private.
You can't compare him to those average Joes, man. They say he's a Rothschild. There's
Yeah,
something
this
that
this guy's a big money, big influence.
said a one percenter. Yeah, he's a 1%er. You talking about
Yes,
some guys?
he is a
that are-
1%er. And even if he himself wasn't a 1%er, he's aligned with them all anyway, but he is.
Yeah, for sure. And you're talking about some guys who's like,
And he's got dirt on all of them anyway.
that's another thing. That's a whole nother situation too. Tell you the truth. Yeah. Sheesh. That's sick.
Guarded. Closing in. Is this sequence coincidence or chain reaction when escape vanishes? Ponder that. Truth often hides in psychology, not plots. I've walked through the Metropolitan Correctional Center's hallways in my mind more times than I can count, piecing together reports from the Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General, court filings, and years of accumulated accounts from staff, inmates, and advocates. The place closed in 2021, but its shadow lingers. Here's the unsettling verified fact that hits hardest. Jeffrey Epstein didn't die in isolation on August 10, 2019. He died inside a facility that had been rotting from chronic understaffing, broken cameras, ignored protocols, and a culture of cutting corners long before he ever arrived. Let me lay out the people and the place concisely, with respect. Epstein was a high-profile detainee facing federal sex trafficking charges, held in the Special Housing Unit at MCC New York since July 2019. The facility itself? A federal pretrial detention center in Lower Manhattan, housing hundreds awaiting trial. Guards, psychologists, supervisors, all part of the Federal Bureau of Prisons system. Many were overworked, exhausted from mandatory overtime. The OIG's 2023 report pulls no punches. These weren't one-off mistakes. They were symptoms of deeper, long-standing breakdowns that affected countless inmates, not just the famous ones. My heart goes out to every person who passed through those doors. Detainees facing uncertainty, staff stretched to breaking, victims waiting for justice that never fully came. Walk me through the reconstruction based on what the evidence shows. MCC New York had been plagued by operational failures for years. Staffing shortages were severe, chronic, systemic. By 2019, the BOP faced a nationwide crisis. Hiring freezes earlier in the decade, high turnover, burnout. At MCC specifically, officers pulled double shifts, triple shifts. Union reps warned it created unsafe conditions. Guards got augmented. Teachers, nurses, clerical staff pulled to cover posts. Overtime became the norm, leading to fatigue. The OIG repeatedly flagged this across BOP facilities. Understaffing eroded safety, mental health care, basic supervision. Cameras? Long-standing deficiencies. The security system relied on outdated DVRs. Disk failures happened regularly. In Epstein's case, DVR-2 crashed on July 29, 2019, weeks before his death. Half the institution's cameras stopped recording, though live feeds continued. Staff discovered it August 8 but didn't fix it before August 10. The OIG noted this wasn't new. MCC had a history of camera problems, with upgrades delayed because technicians got reassigned to cover custody shortages. Partial footage existed from one camera in the SHU common area, but Epstein's cell door stayed out of view. No continuous record of his tier that critical night. Suicide watch protocols? Fractured. Epstein landed on watch after a July incident, possible self-harm, sheet around his neck. Removed July 29, but psychology staff directed, keep a cellmate at all times. Email went to over 70 people. Yet August 9, his cellmate transferred out. No replacement assigned. Excess linens piled up, blankets, sheets, clothing. One cell search documented that day, not his. Had protocol held, those materials get removed. SHU routines crumbled under pressure. Policy demanded 30-minute rounds, inmate counts multiple times per shift, cell searches. Culture shifted to sign off and move on. Guards falsified logs, common enough that the OIG found patterns predating Epstein. In his unit, rounds stopped after 10:40 p.m. August 9. Counts skipped after 4 p.m. 2 guards later charged with falsification, charges dropped after deferred prosecution. They napped, browsed online. Fatigue from OT played in. These weren't isolated. The OIG's broader reviews, post-Epstein, pre-Epstein, show similar failures nationwide. Hundreds of inmate suicides in federal custody over years, many tied to unchecked risks, poor monitoring. MCC itself closed after Epstein's death exposed the rot. Rats, raw sewage, sporadic mental health meds, per inmate accounts and lawyers. Judges complained. It wasn't about one detainee, it was a facility and system failing routinely. Turning points? They stack up over time, not just that night. First, chronic understaffing eroded basics, hiring freezes, turnover left gaps. Second, camera neglect became normalized, failures repeated, repairs delayed. Third, suicide management protocols weakened, cellmate directives ignored despite alerts. Fourth, a culture of disregard, falsified records, skipped checks took root when exhaustion ruled. Epstein's arrival amplified scrutiny, but the cracks predated him. Known facts from the OIG's deep dive: no evidence of criminality contradicting suicide by hanging, no unauthorized entry. Autopsy consistent, but misconduct clear, significant, repeated. Guards' failures enabled opportunity. BOP acknowledged issues, agreed to recommendations, better staffing, camera checks, cellmate protocols. MCC shuttered 2021, inmates moved. Unknowns remain. How many other high-risk inmates slipped through similar gaps before 2019? Exact numbers of ignored directives across facilities? Did fatigue alone drive the culture, or deeper management failures? If not Epstein, who else? That's the angle that keeps me up. High-risk detainees, those on watch in SHU, faced the same environment. Staffing shortages meant less eyes on cells.
Wow. You know what I caught about his thing? He didn't mention nothing about the pictures from the other clip that I said. You feel me? No mention of that.
This video might have been made prior to that.
Yeah, before that, those pictures came out. That's just adds on to it, though. It's like, wow, like, because the pictures alone is kind of crazy, you know, when you get the guard involved. But he's putting together all these facts. He lined it up. Like I said, salute to him. That was a nice breakdown. And then you look back, and then you look at the pictures from that clip. Man,
It all starts to add up and look wild.
It pisses me off. The freak is free. But anyway, man, I think we about to get up out of here on that note. This is just
That was a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate all the comments.
Oh yeah, salute to the chat, everybody. Hit that like button.
You guys are on it. You guys are definitely on it
for sure. Left
You
side,
know what's up.
Skrilla, or left side. This 1, 2, 3. Salute. You feel me? Who else? All of these. Feel me?
Yeah, everybody, like I said before, everybody's well informed, and it's just it's right there out in the open, and finally people are paying attention to it. A lot of the people have been seeing it for a long time, but now the normies are starting to get a little bit of wind of it. And they don't like fuck shit, so that's when they get a hold of it. That's when it gets good.
Definitely. Yeah, and like I said, I'm convinced. I think you know, something fishy's going on. Something. I think he. You
But our
know.
people, you can tell they're deep in this. They've been knowing this for a minute. They're not new to this. They know what's up. So we appreciate you guys being well informed and coming in for the content.
Hell yeah. He's not on an island either because they watching that island. But I think he in Israel with his people protecting him.
Yeah, I think he would be in Israel. He's got the connects there, and they don't mind that shit. They harbor pedophiles all the time.
Oh man,
I
everywhere
don't
though.
look.
Shit.
Look, I look. I don't really hate Israel, but I've heard that many, many, many times, so I believe it. You know, unless proven otherwise. But I keep seeing people with bad charges escape America and go over there, and it's fine. So they don't care about that shit. They don't care about what the American government says. It didn't happen there, so it's not their problem. So I get it. That's their plausible deniability, but they do that shit. But I usually don't mind Israel too much, but I don't like everything they do, obviously. But they're a necessary evil in America's life right now. But one day it'll come to terms with them, and there'll be beef, and then shit'll change.
Yeah, I dropped the interview off the Epstein files earlier today with Epstein talking to Ed Hood or whatever his name is, the Israel whatever something, and yeah, they're talking about Barack Obama and all this, and it was like they best real good friends. They had a long conversation with just them two, and they was
Yeah, they're world leaders, bro. They had a lot of business and made a lot of money together.
as
Still
they eat
do.
their lobster and shrimp. But my thing is,
Yeah,
what the fuck? Epstein
flying
ain't
on
no
their
fucking
private
world
jets,
leader.
flying on their
Epstein.
private jets, and it's not coming out of any of their pockets.
Wow, it might
It's
have
our
been.
money. That's
That's
our money.
amazing.
Our soldiers died for that.
That's the amazing part. But anyway, yeah. Shout out to Scrap Skrilla for sure. He said I'm around. Keep those eyes open. Yeah, for sure.
Facts.
We back.
Facts.
We'll be back at it. Anyway, shit. Like I said, we out of
Absolutely.
here. Salute.
Salute. Absolutely.
Like, subscribe.
Be good,
Peace.
everyone.